They've survived in some of the most extreme places on the planet. The tops of mountains, the highest seas, the deepest jungles, the hottest deserts, and the frozen Arctic. But these are not hardened adventurers. They're children, aged just 12 to 15, who become serious explorers for CBBC.
Oh my gosh!
In this survival special, we'll be looking at how they coped in the awful conditions.
It hurts so bad.
From their triumphs
I feel like the biggest man in the world!
to their occasional slip-ups. And we'll be guiding you through our top tips for successful adventure.
I'm the Serious Expedition Leader, Ben Major.
And I'm the Assistant Leader, Polly Murray.
Stand by as we reveal the secrets of serious survival. Surviving in extreme environments takes guts and courage, but also lots of planning and experience.
So don't try anything in this programme unless you're with experts like us.
Between them, Ben and Polly have been on expeditions to some of the most extreme places on Earth. As a survival specialist and ex-army officer, Ben has had to live rough for weeks in jungles and deserts. And Polly's the first Scottish woman to have climbed the world's highest peak, Mount Everest. Every extreme environment has its own particular hazards.
Oh, I didn't think it'd be this hot.
And serious adventurers have encountered most of them, from seasickness out in the ocean
Good effort, Harry. At least you got in a bowl.
to altitude sickness high in the mountains. But it seems there's one thing young adventurers worry about more than anything.
I'm not really sure about going to the toilet.
We're going to the toilet.
Having to go to the toilet in the bushes. Going to the toilet in a hole.
When you're at home, you don't even think about going to the loo. But on an expedition, that's a completely different matter.
Then you have to decide where you're going to go and how you're going to go.
And you must make sure that you don't mess up the environment for other people.
On a beautiful, unspoilt mountain, everything that goes up must come down, and that includes poo.
Now, what we've got to help us are black bags. So you need to double bag it because these are quite thin.
Oh, that's dirty.
So the only thing that goes in here is solid.
I'm not doing it.
So pop it on there. You've got a nice kind of, you've got a kind of nice little rest, and you can squat over, yeah.
I'm not going.
And we're going to collect it on the way down the mountain.
It was a similar routine climbing the 20,000-foot Cotopaxi in the Andes.
If you need to do the number 2, this is what you do it in. This portable device. Put it in here, and you put it in here.
But the freezing conditions up Cotopaxi gave Josh other concerns about going to the toilet.
Our urine dispenser is outside our body. Will we have trouble?
Oh, God.
You're talking about your willy, aren't you?
Yes.
Urine dispenser.
Your urine dispenser. I've never heard it called that before. Will you have problems with it? Be
Will
clear.
it freeze? Will the urine freeze?
No.
In the Arctic, the sub-zero temperatures meant the adventurers didn't want to go to the toilet at all.
I have to reveal my bottom in -30.
I hate using the toilet out here. Well, there is no toilet, that's the thing. You just have to crouch down and do what you have to do. So I try to avoid it as much as possible. At the beginning I said I was going to do 1 a week, which I've already done, so I made me not to go again.
But after saving it up, there was relief when they finally went.
It's day 4. I have just been for my first poop. Oh my God, so good. The best poop I've ever had.
Whatever the expedition, toilet trips are trickier than at home, but you can make your life easier. Here's our top 5 tips for going in the wild.
Carry freezer bags for those beautiful places where you must take everything out.
Be organised in the cold. You don't want to forget your loo paper, and at -20 degrees get frostbite on your bum.
Don't go near rivers. You may be polluting someone's drinking water.
Burn used toilet paper. It's much more environmentally friendly.
When you've got to go, you've got to go. Everyone's in the same boat, so don't hold it in.
Serious adventurers have had to deal with some very different extreme environments. From extreme heat in the Namibian desert
I'm sweating just sitting down here. I'm not doing anything.
to extreme cold in the Arctic.
Hi.
To stand a chance of surviving, you've got to have the right kit.
The temperature in most freezers is about -18 degrees, and you may have found from taking out a bag of oven chips or even ice cream that you can feel it hurting your hands almost immediately.
So imagine living in temperatures much, much colder than this, say -30, 40 degrees Celsius, day after day.
That's what the serious Arctic team had to cope with, so the right clothing was a matter of life and death. And not looking after it had serious consequences.
That's what I've got to wear today. I'm not kidding. I mean, I could chop the ice up with this thing. I could scrape it.
It's important to remember that when you're on expedition, the kit is for protection, not for fashion. Though everyone looked pretty good in their Andes horse riding outfits. Well, perhaps with one exception.
I'm loving these.
You look like a gorilla gram.
Wherever you're travelling to, we've got 5 top tips on dressing for extremes.
Test it at home. You do not want to be working out how to do up a zip at -40 degrees.
Get the right boots. You need different boots for different environments. Make sure they're well worn in and really comfy.
Use layers. In the cold, you need lots of layers to trap the air to keep you warm.
Don't sweat in the freezing cold. Take layers off before you get too hot. Otherwise, your sweat freezes and you get dangerously cold.
Wear a hat. In the cold, it will keep you warm, and in the heat, it will keep you cool.
If you're going to live rough, be prepared to share your home with the creatures that live there already. Spiders and tarantulas are never far away in the jungle.
Just to keep you happy, you're sleeping up here, yeah? Yeah. See all these holes here? All spiders. All spiders.
Oh, no.
Okay.
And that night, a local tarantula came out to play.
We just sat down talking and George just spotted the most huge, scary tarantula in the corner that I've seen before.
It's on the floor! Get it away! Nobody seriously put it outside! I hope nothing will get me, so I'm just going to stay like this.
But it's a much smaller creature that can drive you mad.
The mozzies are absolutely terrible. They're flying around everywhere.
There's a mosquito in my ear.
I can see about literally in this space here about 100 or something.
Oh God, I'm getting bitten alive.
Ouch.
I'm getting bitten now. I'm getting bitten.
Jeez, stupid little things.
But they can also cause more serious problems. For Chanel, an allergy to mosquito bites caused her face to swell up.
Yeah. Should we go next door and get a bit more privacy? Yeah. Have you ever had swelling in the face before? No. Okay.
For safety, she had to end her expedition and go home.
This is literally my childhood dream to do all this.
And there are plenty of other small creatures waiting to get you, like blood-sucking ticks.
That's Megan! Get off me!
It's really got some quite strong teeth that are locking in there.
Look at this sweet boy.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm a bit frightened of them. I don't want them to come anywhere near me.
Scorpion-tastic.
Scorpion. This is a speedy one, this one. Move this one out of the way carefully, yeah? There we go. Yeah.
Let's just move the wood and scrape them off, and then we'll just be carefully trying to pick them up, because if we just try and catch all the scorpions around here, we're going to be here for a very long time.
The jungle team also had to cope with leeches.
Oh, it's gross. Gross, sorry. Oh, it was in my belly button. Oh, I'm really sorry, I've had it.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, imagine finding a deadly snake under your bed.
It looks black and it looks kind of like the black mamba, but I'm not totally sure.
That's not good, actually.
It's very big.
Right, let's get out of here.
Oh, that snake out of my house.
A local tribesman killed the venomous snake and retrieved its last meal, a chicken egg.
Oh my God.
That's gross. A very uneasy feeling, knowing that that's just been under your bed while we've been sleeping.
Which brings us to sleeping arrangements, and serious adventurers have slept everywhere, from mountaintops to caves to jungles and even glaciers.
Building a good camp is crucial to surviving, but no one said it was going to be easy.
With a waterproof sheet for a roof, jungle hammocks should keep you safe and dry.
Whoa!
That's if you can stay in them.
Whoa! Can't wait to hear the thuds in the night of people falling out the hammock.
Are you alright, James? A comfortable hammock.
Whoa.
Or I might just embarrass myself.
In the Arctic, the adventurers got the chance to sleep in an igloo. But building one is a skill that takes quite a while to master.
It's not touching enough either. It's not, it's the corner. That is it. Calm down. Let's try and just reshape it. No!
No, it's not.
Oh, it's so annoying. We're always getting the angle wrong, and so all the blocks keep falling in. We're actually sleeping in it tonight, which is a bit scary because all the sides keep looking like they're going to cave in. They told us that they'd be putting in a shovel so we could dig our way out.
Yay!
In such an extreme environment, you never know what surprises the weather might throw at you.
I got a pole in my head to wake me up, and then the whole tent has just come down.
It's just the winds are blowing really hard.
The whole tent was just like collapsed, and it's so horrible because we're just in the middle of nowhere.
I think we need to get out. Where are we going?
It's been the most horrible night of my life.
By morning, the storm had devastated the camp.
I think we must have had 100-mile-an-hour gusts last night. And some of these tents have been to the Antarctic, they've been to the North and South Pole, and they've never had this happen to them.
It was awful. Totally awful. I hated it. It's like all my fears into one.
If you're going to survive in any environment, you need to know how to build a shelter.
To make a shelter, you want to find the perfect spot. First off, try and get out of the wind and the rain. Similarly, rivers stay off the floodplains, but close enough so you can get water to cook with. And in the perfect spot, you'd have a beautiful view.
The first stage to build the shelter is to find a good, solid log to use as our cross brace for the roof of the shelter. We've got perfect little branches where we can rest our log up against.
And if you don't have suitable branches, you can use V-shaped sticks, which are absolutely mustard for jamming logs in place.
The next thing we're going to need is good solid branches to form the roof.
And you want to use one of these every 6 to 8 inches all the way across the roof. You may have holes and you may have to lay branches going the opposite direction. And don't forget the sides. The wind and the wet can get you through there.
So the last job now is to waterproof the whole thing, and we are going to use heather. If we were in the jungle, we'd be using palm leaves.
You can never have too much of it. Put it on good and thick. As you look at it, low right.
OK, got it.
I think that's looking pretty good, you know?
Yep.
I reckon it might be time to try it out.
Perfect timing. It's just starting to rain.
I know, bags need the back.
Yeah. Oh, great.
If there's one environment that gets to most adventurers, it's being at sea.
Life on the ocean wave takes some getting used to, from simply making a cup of tea
to the very cramped living conditions. And at some point, almost everyone feels a little off colour.
In Tanzania, the adventurers had not been at sea for long before trouble was brewing.
I just feel really sick.
If you are feeling sick, get it over the side and try not to get it over other people. Oh.
It's all right, it's normal. Don't worry.
I can't really stand up for like more than 5 minutes without having to sit down again because I'm feeling so sick.
What I would give for us to just turn and go to land.
For the Sirius Ocean team, conditions were far, far worse, as they were sailing in some of the roughest seas in the world.
Look at the horizon. Yes. It'll help you not feel sick.
It won't.
You haven't done it yet.
You feel ill?
Yeah.
Let's go down below and go and lie down. And take your pupil, put it next to you.
I was sick, I think, 6 times. David was really, really badly sick.
Oh, it's painful.
It was like the most horrible experience I've ever had in my life. I had no energy, couldn't breathe. I was saying to myself, I want to go home.
You just end up retching because you're just so sick you don't have anything to throw up anymore. It really was horrible.
Sailing in such dangerous seas surrounded by ice, the team had to learn what to do if they had to abandon ship.
Let's go, abandon ship. 8 seconds on deck, go.
Quick,
Grab your boots on deck.
Grab anything you've got, okay?
Move, Harry. Just get up those stairs.
Claire.
Just as in a real emergency, the adventurers transferred to a life raft.
In and under.
Oh my God.
But being inside such a tiny space wasn't much fun.
Could you lift your foot up a second? Okay, don't bother anybody. Just leave your...
Charlotte, I'm sorry.
I know everyone's uncomfortable, but my foot's got 4 people on one shin and it hurts.
We're already after 5 minutes going all legs on my leg. Nah. Can you imagine spending days and days, possibly weeks on here? Yeah, in a real survival situation.
The only good thing about this experience is that it will end soon.
Living so close to people you barely know is a bit like being in a pressure cooker. Sooner or later, something's got to give.
But you didn't give us a chance. You just take on the role without asking. If you want to. No, you didn't. You didn't ask anyone. No, of course we didn't ask anyone. Exactly.
Setting sail from Chile, the ocean team couldn't even agree on who would steer the boat.
I haven't even had one go at it. You had like...
Yeah, it was supposed to be me, then Robin, then Sybil. And you just not helping.
We had this really pathetic argument about nothing, about who was steering.
Why can't I have boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl?
It's my turn to sail, it's my turn to sail, it's my turn to sail. Why can't I sail?
Sybil's been waiting for ages.
Shut up and drive.
That's so unfair. Look,
Harry's going on.
I'm fine. I don't really care about going on.
Let Harry on.
Watch the boat.
Harry, look where the boat's going.
It's only day 2. You know, we've got another 24 days of this. And they're bickering like anything. I mean, this boat is a nightmare.
I'm not talking to any of you guys. I'm asking you nicely. What would you like to do?
Shut up! You just gave me a big lecture about not walking off from the things I said I'd do.
They're telling me that I should stop shouting when I wasn't shouting. This is shouting!
While boats are particularly bad for what's commonly called cabin fever, the stress of living rough can boil over in any extreme environment.
Drives me insane.
It's the first week. I don't think it's a very good start.
There's tension. You can cut it with a knife. Look, watch. It's only my hand.
I just don't like her. If she comes next to me today, I'm going to punch her.
Day 7 in the serious desert dive route, Perry decides to slag everyone off, especially Amy.
Amy came back from rhino tracking today. Started having a go at us all for not doing stuff and faffing around. Well, how would she know that we're faffing around if she's not even there?
Doing funny jokes and doing impressions and stuff doesn't build a wall.
I'm not doing it. I'm getting out. I'm not there. Hi, Nikita.
If he says one more thing about me, I'm going to literally go over there and smash his face, and he's talking about me now.
I'm going as fast as I can.
That's who I'm talking about. She's got my head top.
No, Nikita does not have your head top.
Arguments aside, expeditions are packed with amazing experiences. But wherever your adventures take you, be it mountain or river, desert or jungle, there's one skill everyone needs to master.
One of the most important things every adventurer needs to know is how to build a fire. It's often the only way to keep warm or to get a hot meal.
But as the serious adventurers have found out, it takes a lot of practice to get this right.
This really isn't going well for a first night out. We can't get the fire going. Everybody's tried and everybody's failed. I'm beginning to get a bit worried. I'm not sure if we're actually going to ever get any food.
It must have taken about half an hour to 40 minutes to light the fire, which is quite laughable, really.
In Tanzania, the local Munyati tribe made it look easy, but the secrets have been passed down over generations.
It's really difficult to get even an ember going. I mean, when you're spinning the stick, it just falls out the hole. It's just really annoying.
Oh my God. Come on! That's it. Go on, get your face right down in there and blow it.
The key to lighting a fire is to be prepared. First of all, you're going to need matches or a lighter, and just make sure that they're in a good waterproof bag.
You want to start off with whatever you can find around you that's dry. Moss is great, or maybe the inside of tree bark, but also pine needles are fantastic, just to get the fire going initially.
You want to get nice dry wood that just snaps at 90 degrees. Okay, let's go for it.
No one said it was going to be easy. Lighting fires is as much patience as anything else. As you've got a bed to the fire, you just want to start adding little twigs very slowly. Don't try and put them all on at once. You want to try and make a wigwam so air can get right into the bottom of the fire. It doesn't matter whether the fire's only this size or massive, it's still hot, so always take care.
Just keep blowing from quite low down, and that just keeps the air moving, keeping it nice and hot in the core.
Try not to be where I am, on the downwind smoky side, because when Polly blows, I get a faceful. Once you've got the fire established, you want to start filling in bigger logs. Place the ends into the bottom of the embers. The ends of the fat logs will start turning into big red embers, and that's really going to be the heart of the fire to then cook on. As these bits of wood start burning down, you can then just gradually feed them into the middle, and you don't have to mess around with trying to chop wood and all that kind of stuff.
That's good. So fire is nice and hot. 5 minutes time, put the pot on, ready to eat.
Once you've got the fire going, you can get cooking. But the extreme menu might not be to everyone's taste.
I'm not eating that. I refuse to eat that.
Does everyone want to grab a leg?
No way.
When in the Amazon, you've got to try a bit of spider leg.
Just look at it though.
Not
oh, it's all furry still. It's hairy though. I'm not eating a furry leg.
Got to go for the furry leg.
Oh, it's actually quite nice.
It is, isn't it? Who's going to go with the
Me.
cucaracha?
Go on, Jamie. Chew, Jamie, chew.
This is an absolute delicacy out here. It's called a Mapani worm. Look at it.
It's alive. I can't do that, Bruce.
I'll do it. Promise.
I'll try. I can't do it.
Please.
I'll do it.
Come, She'll
only have one chance at it.
Just go, do it.
Yeah!
Is it eating you?
What does it taste like?
Yeah.
Megan, you go for that one.
Go for it.
Go for it. Chew. Chomp, 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 chomp.
It's a mug.
Oh.
Lovely.
You're vegetarian. I'm vegetarian. No, it has to be done. Why are we going to get a chance to eat a worm?
And it's not always just bugs and creepy crawlies. After a cull of beavers by local scientists, the serious ocean adventurers found the cute creature on their dinner menu.
The smell is really putting me off.
It's actually cooked to perfection. I agree the smell is pretty revolting, but I think it's definitely worth trying because actually the meat is very tasty.
Okay.
And I think it will be surprised.
David.
Yeah, I haven't bring myself to chew that.
It's amazing.
Okay, no tuna.
So, I expect it to be really, really horrible, but it's really, really nice. It's like a steak on a stick.
Which brings us to our last and perhaps most important survival ingredient.
Even more essential than food in a survival situation is water.
Trekking for weeks at a time makes it virtually impossible to carry enough water for everyone.
It means you may have to utilise streams and purify water as you go.
Or look in more unusual places.
Drinkable water might be contained in a vine.
There we go.
It's a really funny taste, but it's nice. It's good.
Georgia. I could take a long time to clean it off first.
Or even in a fish's eyeball.
This is the only part of the fish that has fresh water in it. So in a survival situation, you'd go to eat the eyeball. You can chew it, yeah. Just chew it and then down the hatch. How's that?
It tastes like foley.
Oh, this is disgusting.
It feels like a meaty, but it doesn't actually taste that bad though, surprisingly.
The desert is notorious for its lack of water, so in an emergency, desperate adventurers have been known to try almost anything.
Where is one place that we've got water that's going to waste?
Trees. Washing.
Trees, yeah.
When we
Washing.
kind of
urine.
urinate.
Oh!
No, that ain't fun. That's rank.
So we're just going to have a go at seeing how we can drink our own urine.
No!
Oh, no.
I'll be sick.
Yeah, that's just horrible.
Hold us together.
To turn their wee into drinkable water, they tried to make a solar still.
You don't want to get your pee in there. This is your clean drinking water bottle.
The idea was that the urine in the first bottle would evaporate in the sun, leaving pure drinking water to collect in the second bottle.
Yeah?
I've got a drop.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, hang on. Open it very carefully.
You think I'm going to drink it?
Yeah, you are.
Are you crazy?
Oh, that stinks. Perry, you first.
It reeks, doesn't it?
What does it taste like?
Just tastes like water.
Dave, you going next?
This will quench your thirst when you're in the middle of the desert. That is just revolting, that is.
What does it taste like?
Urine.
On each serious expedition, the adventurers have ultimately conquered their extreme environment to achieve the extraordinary. From world firsts like rounding Cape Horn to summiting the 20,000-foot Cotopaxi, they've overcome incredible hardship and their own fears.
Oh God, no, I can't.
Making their successes all the more special and changing their lives forever.
Everyone back home will be like so proud of me. And I'm proud of me too.
My perspective on life is going to be absolutely changed. Things that I found tough, it's nothing compared to what I've done here.
It's something you never thought you'd do in a million years. Just cherish it for the rest of your life.
It was tougher than I ever imagined it to be, but it was all worth it. If I'm 15 now, think of what I can achieve when I'm 30.
I'm going to be telling this story over and over again to everybody I know for the rest of my life.
I just want to stay longer. Please?
I just feel so privileged to have been a part of it. This has been the best thing I've ever done in my entire life, and it'll stay with me forever.